What's up, everybody? This is Sound Off with Stixx. This is Keith Stixx, and I've got in the shop today Mr. Billie Stevens. What's up, Billy?
Hi, I'm Keith Stixx, and you're here with Billie Stevens. No, man, we're having a blast, and I want to say thanks for having me down here, dude.
Absolutely.
Love the Tsunami family, and everybody part in it, so.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we've got a lot of history, which we'll go into in a little while. But let's start with kind of the time machine situation.
I was young and needed the money.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so every musician. Yeah, let's go back to the beginning. So when did you start playing music?
Officially 4 years old.
Okay. Jeez, I love that. Officially, it's 4 years old.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Professionally, 4 years old. You know, I dabbled prior, but no. When I was about 4 years old, my Uncle Phil was living with my mom and dad, and he played guitar.
Okay.
And I was little, but my grandfather had a ukulele, and
wow.
I could play that. So my Uncle Phil went and got me a book. And so he showed me like 3-4 chords on a ukulele.
Oh, cool.
And I thought it was the coolest thing because I was, little, but I could hang out. And he's jamming on guitar, and I'd be strumming on a ukulele just right in there.
That's right.
And then, that was only for a couple of years, and then put it away for a while, Went through a tough time in life, 5.5 to 7 was kind of...
First grade was rough.
No, but then at 8 I got a guitar.
Cool.
And started playing and played ever since.
Okay. And then now, at that point in time, where were you? You were...
Just outside of Fresno, California.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Central California.
Central California, that's right. Okay. Very cool, very cool. And then you've had quite a bit of success in your career. So what was like the first part of that? What was the first band that like really hit it and went going?
Probably when I moved to Southern California.
Right.
I was living in Fresno at the time, and I was in kind of like a punk pop glam rock band, kind of a fucking mess. But we had such outrageous fun shows that we had a great following.
Gotcha. And
then it just got to the point where I wanted to do more. I was finding that, which there's nothing wrong with being a full-blown alcoholic, but I was in my early 20s and I was drinking too much and then kind of out of control and I was living like a rock star without being a rock star.
Right, okay.
So, and there's a point where that just stops working.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to do more, and I knew some guys that were had lived in LA, and they were from my little area. Mm-hmm. They're from Fresno. And they were moving back to LA, and I'd been jamming with them, and so we were going to go back to LA and run the Strip again, and they'd already done that, and then their band broke up, so they came home to put something new together.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I packed up everything I had in a van, and I'm moving to LA to be a rock star, and drove down here, and that was right at the time before cell phones, where not everybody had them, and I got here and they didn't show up.
Oh, shit.
So I spent a couple months living in a van with all my gear on one side, all my clothes on the other, and I would sleep like a little vampire right in the middle of it. And I had little curtains on it so I could go park somewhere. Uh-huh. And now it's easier. You got Walmart. You can just go park in any Walmart and people don't mess with you. Back then, you get run out a lot.
I bet.
But I found a really cool family in Orange County.
Okay.
And they took me in and told me for a couple $100 a month I could sleep on their couch.
Okay, cool.
It was fair.
Yeah.
And so, and then I just, every day was like, go find a gig, go find somebody to jam with, go make a connection.
Right.
And from the time I moved onto their couch to my first multi-million-dollar record deal was less than 4 years.
Wow. That's quite the... that's a short amount of span. That's really tight, and that's really small.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people spend their whole life and not get that deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy, man. That's great. So which band was that?
A band called Wank.
Wank. Okay, that's what I wasn't sure. Yeah. Okay. So and that was on. Is that the one that was on?
Maverick.
Maverick. Okay.
So
cool.
we were signed by Guy Osiri, who's now like, I don't know if he's like one of the main guys at Live Nation or something. Like
Gotcha.
the guy's a player.
Right.
And at the time he was Madonna's right hand guy.
Right.
And he signed us to Maverick on a Sunday. We were in a bidding war because we had a song that got added to K-Rock, full rotation with no record label.
Wow. That's right.
And we were getting calls for about 2 weeks. We had good management. And he was like, I'm going to close it on Sunday. And everybody was throwing in their $600,000, $700,000 record deals. And he goes, nope, I'm going to close this by Monday. And Maverick came to the table, over $1 million, and we closed it on Sunday night.
Wow.
I got the call. I was in Burbank having dinner.
Nice. That's rad, man. That's
Welcome to Maverick Records.
Yeah. Done. Yeah. You're like sold. That's great, man. That's
Yeah.
great. And then, so at that point, where did you go from there? I mean, that was obviously in the studio, right? And we were recording, and then
Well, we did.
you already had a record.
That's the brilliance of it. We had our record. They bought what we had. We were on the radio. They didn't have time to start over.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're like, people want to buy this.
Right.
Let's put it out.
Yeah.
And so, so we're like, okay. And so they took our record. They had a hotshot engineer guy remix it.
Cool.
Had it mastered.
Done.
And out it went.
Nice.
So that was already, it was done. So normally at that time, they'd put you in the studio and you'd spend, $400,000 or $500,000 on a record.
Right.
We split that cash.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Bought a couple more vans for you to sleep in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a beach home at that point.
Nice.
One in the Inland Empire.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, let's go up to the house in Hollywood. Where you parked?
That's awesome. Yeah. That's sick, man. That's really cool. Very, very killer.
Yeah.
So, and how long did that last for? How long was Wank a thing for?
3 years.
3 years? Okay.
Yeah, we're on Maverick, and then at the time, two of the guys just weren't feeling the road. They were.
Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that if it's in you, it's the best thing in the world.
Right.
But a lot of people like their comfort. A lot of people like their routine.
Right.
And when you're sleeping in an airport on a concrete floor with an 1/8 inch of carpet and a water bottle as a pillow, because you got 4 hours till your next flight, and
Right.
it's just got to be your thing.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Right.
And so Maverick actually was having some trouble at the time internally, and they had some issues, and so we actually got to pick to leave our deal and get paid. And another, it was another $100,000 a guy to not do a record with him.
Jesus, that's great.
Yeah. And so when we left, it was like, all right, where are we going to go? And then, it was just a big kind of conflict of how we wanted to approach things.
Gotcha.
Two of the guys just wanted to get another big record deal, and me and another guy wanted to actually go play.
Gotcha. Okay.
We didn't mind doing it through another label.
Right.
But we wanted to go put in our road work and build our fan base.
Right, I got you.
And those two were like, no, we'll get paid and then we'll leave and go to another label. And it's like...
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Well, it can.
I mean, it can, yeah, but yeah. That's
and especially back then.
Okay.
Back then, that's kind of how the business worked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, but, so the band ended up splitting.
Gotcha.
So I started a new band with the other guitar player called Handsome Devil, and we signed to RCA Records 7 months after Wank broke up.
Wow. That's rad.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's cool. And then... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we were actually... we played a lot of local shows with bands, and it was the second wave of the Orange County kind of explosion.
Right.
And so since we were part of that, all of our friends were signed. They were doing major tours. They were selling millions of records. So they're like, we love you. Come on.
Yeah, right. Jump on. That's rad, man. That's great. And so that was the time when you were touring with Lit and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
That was that whole thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Lit's some of the guys that brought us right into RCA.
Awesome. That's
we
great.
were on tour with Zebrahead that we were friends with, which was an Orange County band.
Right. Yep.
And we were playing El Rey, I think, in Los Angeles. And Jeremy from Lit and his management brought out Bob Jameson, who was the head of RCA, the president, and Bruce Floor, who was A&R, to come see us play. And at the end of the show, they're like, the president of the record label is just like, okay, guys, let's get it rolling on Monday.
Yeah.
Miss you, Bob.
Yeah. You're like done and done.
Miss all the Patron.
That's awesome, man. That's crazy.
Ah.
And how long was Handsome Devil a thing for?
3 years.
3 years.
Well,
Okay.
on RCA.
On RCA, okay.
Maybe two. Yeah, between 2 and 3 years on RCA.
Okay.
Between Maverick and RCA, one thing I learned is the business side of it
Right.
has very little to do with music.
Right.
And a lot of times it has a little to do with business, but it's very personal.
Gotcha.
And so when people get in, get out, people shift jobs, they bring their people, and other people's people are now put away.
Gotcha.
And it's a very incestuous business.
Right.
So, you could see A&R guy Tim from Capitol.
Right.
6 months ago, 2 years ago, he was A&R Tim from Warner Brothers.
Gotcha. Okay.
Before that, he was A&R Tim from,
Wherever,
BMG.
Gotcha.
So the same people just kind of are all there. And that's exactly what happened when we left RCA. They didn't pick up our option. We were in the studio tracking for another record. Bob Jameson left. Clive Davis came in.
Okay.
Clive Davis is known for Whitney Houston,
Right.
for doing pop chick singers,
Yeah.
R&B. So that year that Clive came in, RCA signed everybody who won the first season of American Idol and had an ongoing contract with American Idol.
Okay.
That's where their focus shifted.
Gotcha.
And the following 12 to 18 months, many multi-platinum bands didn't have their options picked up.
Wow.
When you hear bands like Lit, Eve 6, huge bands
Right.
that sold millions of records, and it's like, okay, we're coming up on our option, and they're like, we're not going to renew, we're going in a different direction. And it's not because the bands suck, it's just because...
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's
So,
crazy.
and then Handsome Devil put out 2 more records after that.
Okay. Was that more like an independent thing? Like you guys
Yeah.
on your own? Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't 100%.
I knew a guy with a studio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we did the first record after it with a guy named Cameron Webb,
Okay.
who I love. I worked with him, and the console that I use, I actually bought from his studio
Oh, cool. Okay.
when he replaced it with his API board.
Nice.
And so, Cameron did the second record, and then I did the third one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then that gets, I would imagine that kind of follows up into Dinky, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, for people who don't know, Billy owned a studio called Dinky Recording, right?
Dinky Music
Dinky
Recording
Music
Studios.
Recording Studios. There you go.
It was a whole Dinky Music family. So
Right.
we had Dinky Music Duplication. It was my publishing name. I was like, these are my stupid little songs.
Okay.
And so that was the whole idea of Dinky Music.
Right.
And those were the songs I was writing that where I was putting on records as an artist.
Gotcha.
So when I needed to build a studio, I was just like, well, I've always used the name Dinky Music
Right.
for me, and it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
every hip hop guy in the IE started calling me Dinky, like that was my name. Yeah, Dinky, I need more CDs. I'm like, awesome, fantastic.
I love it. That's so good.
I got $42. What's that by me? No, we used to do it. We did everything good. You know?
I know. I'm just giving you
We
shit.
did CDs like $2.50 a piece.
Yeah.
And we had a
yeah.
24-hour turnaround. So it was one of those
Right.
things where the guys that show up on Wednesday were like pulling out $18 and they're like, I need 6 by Saturday.
No problem. Got you covered.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, good shit, man. And then as far as the studio goes and that kind of thing, how long were you doing that? Because that's where
almost 10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Almost.
That's crazy. And I came in. Whenever I met you.
Yep.
And that was like probably more towards the end. Halfway towards the end.
Maybe halfway.
Halfway. Yeah.
Yeah, I closed it in the very end of 11.
Okay.
Beginning of 12.
Yeah. Okay. So
My lease was up in January, so I started moving gear out of there probably around December.
Right. Okay.
It's one of those.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great studio.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was a killer studio. I mean, that was where, like I said, where you and I first met.
Yeah.
Which was great. And
You got voted IE's best recording facility by Time Warner, and they came out and did a cable expose on us, and
nice.
back
That's
when
cool,
people
man.
had cable.
Right.
It was a thing.
Yeah, right. Actually, that's awesome.
On channel 24.
Yeah. No. That's awesome. Yeah, man, that's killer. That's really cool. Because I mean, the band I was in, we recorded with you at the studio, and I loved it. It was great. It was a great, nice, big studio, real comfortable, and killer place. And
yeah,
we had a total blast. And,
I did a lot of cool stuff. I did Steven Adler's very first record there after he left Guns N' Roses.
Nice.
The first Adler's Appetite record.
Gotcha. That's cool.
That was pretty awesome. You know.
Absolutely.
Had just a bunch of cool people come through there. So
right. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's cool, man. All right, well, I got a bunch of questions here I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
And we'll go through some of this stuff. You're ready for them? All right, cool.
I did not have sexual relations with that. Okay.
You probably did. You probably did, yeah. What was the first...
She still calls me.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
It's not like it was something to be ashamed of.
What was your first guitar, and when did you get it?
My very first guitar was a Harmony acoustic from probably Sears and Roebuck.
Nice.
And it would have been 78, 79.
Okay, nice.
As far as guitars go, my first electric was a 1971 Fender Mustang.
Okay.
Pretty cool. I mean, it was post CBS buyout, so it wasn't like a Leo Fender built.
Right.
But still, it was a 70s Mustang. And then they discontinued them. And then when they reissued them, it was all of a sudden like, oh, you have a super cool old guitar.
Right. Right.
That was the thing. I still play it. It's hanging on my wall.
That's killer. That's great, man. What guitar out of your collection would you save if it was in a burning building? So out of all the guitars you got. And it could also be ones that you've owned and maybe you don't currently own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Probably I have an 81 Tobacco Les Paul.
Nice.
And it's been in all my music videos. I don't play it as much live, but it's been everywhere. It's like one of my buddies went and played with Gilby Clarke right after he left Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
And he called me up and he's like, dude, I'm gonna go jam with Gilby for an audition. Can I use your Les Paul? And I let him use that one. And it's like, he called me a few years later and asked me if I was down to join Alice Cooper. So it's kind of like a cool trade-off. That guitar's got a lot of history with me.
That's awesome, man. Very cool, very cool. If you can remember, what is the worst thing that has ever happened to you on stage?
Oh, how many do I get to say?
What's the first one that comes to your head? What's the top first one that comes to your head?
First one that comes to my head, I did a jump kick and my pants ripped from the back belt loop to the bottom of the fly. And I don't wear underwear when I'm rocking.
Right.
It gets in the way. You gotta feel the music. And so for the next 40 minutes, it was just like fucking ass crack and ball sacks.
That's so good, man. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
what
good.
are you gonna do? You're gonna stand there proud and rock.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Literally rocking with your balls out. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then in Cincinnati, I ran right off the edge of the stage one time. I was fucking turned around from the back of my amp and I took like 3-4 big steps. I'm just like, yeah! And I put both my feet down, but I had so much momentum, I just kept going. I think we were on tour with Hubasing, and I just came across and I was like, fuck! And then I stepped I was going so fast that I went over the top and planted my foot on top of the barricade.
Right.
So I went cleared probably a good 3 feet, 4 feet.
4 feet, yeah.
Put my foot planted on the barricade. My other foot left the stage long by then, and then just skied out and then crowd surfed. So it turned out being really fucking cool.
Right, yeah.
I crowd surfed, and then they set me down. But the awkward part is once they set me down, I'm standing in the middle of all these people playing guitar. I'm like, fuck, I need to get back up there. Yeah. So I they make a way for me to get to the front of the barricade, and I pointed this really huge bouncer guy, and I'm like, excuse me, can you put me back up there? This big dude's all, oh.
There you go, little buddy.
Yeah, right. So,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, that was
pretty good.
Yeah, that was. At the time, it seemed bad. It was
right.
Now it's that's fucking awesome.
Right.
At the time, you're like, it probably wouldn't have been awesome.
Yeah. Right. And this might be the Mustang that you were talking about, but what's your favorite piece of gear? And it doesn't have to be a guitar. It could be an amp. It could be a pedal.
Probably my custom. I got a Frankenstein. It's in a basement head case.
Okay.
So it's looks like a silver face basement.
Okay.
And it was built by Doug Rocaforte. And I was endorsed by Rocaforte amps for a long time. I love his amps. And he built it as a 1953 or 52 Fender Tweed amp with a gain stage.
Oh, wow.
And he said that's very similar to how Jim Marshall built the first Marshall, was he took a Fender amp and then put an extra gain stage in the signal chain. And so he built this thing for me, and that's been my main amp for probably the last 20 years. Wow. Record with it, drag it. I've drug it across Europe, America, Canada, fucking anywhere I've gone. And I play with a 412 Marshall cab with greenbacks in it if I'm doing rock stuff.
Right.
And those two together with my Les Paul just sounds like Jesus in a box. Right. It's it's one of those things where the cab is set up with the speakers to where you palm mute and you can just feel the stage shake. If I back off on it, or if I have coil tapping on my pickup, so it's a humbucker, but if I pop the switch, it goes to single coil.
Okay. And
I can strum a chord and it sounds Fender clean.
Nice.
It's fucking beautiful. Or I can start really banging on it and it grits up. And it's just the most amazing, natural, right in that sweet spot of clean to dirty to everything.
Gotcha.
Just in an amp.
Wow.
It's awesome.
That's bitchin', man.
That's
really cool.
So it's that thing.
That's awesome. That's definitely a thing. That's cool. All right, so here's the last few questions. First word that just pops in your head, one word answer kind of stuff. All right.
Okay.
There you go. So,
I'm a vagina.
Yeah. Well, this might be the first one. Okay. What's your favorite word?
Probably money.
Money. Nice. What's your least favorite word?
Oh. God. There's a few of them. Never been fond of herpes. As a word.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm one of those weird people. Commitment kind of gives me the same heebie-jeebies. Gee.
That's hilarious.
I guess herpes is a commitment. So I'm actually, this is I'm soul searching here.
Yeah,
this
that's good.
Therapeutic. Thank you everybody that tuned in for this, because I'm finding out a lot about me. Things that last for a long time, I'm kind of not into.
What sound or noise do you love?
God. You know, besides all the random, like, children laughing.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Dude, a Fender Twin, I remember at NAMM about 3 or 4 years back, I watched, I was on the second floor, and you know NAMM.
Yep.
I was on the second floor, I think it was wherever the Fender is, but right across the hall is a Line 6.
Okay.
And they make good gear. I use a lot of their gear because, you know, you get a box this big, you plug it in, it does everything you need, and you're not hauling gear and road cases and flight gear, and it's in a carry-on.
Right.
So I use the shit out of it. I walked from Line 6 over to the Fender booth, and there was a guy on the telly plugged into a Twin. And it was such a distinct, pure, the way it is supposed to sound.
Right.
And I just stopped, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, that's got to be on the list.
Yeah.
The speakers sound and feel like paper, but not just fucking polished gloss paper. It's like an aged, good paper, and the tubes sound crisp, but dirt is...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
You're only getting me from the waist up, right?
Yeah. I believe so.
That still might not be enough.
Yeah, I was going to say
So I've been...
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, well, the ratings either went up or went down with this right at that moment. So it's going to be where everybody's going to like at that point or put the thumbs down right then and there.
I've never gotten so many vomit emojis in my life.
Right. The adverse to that, what sound or noise do you hate?
Dissonance.
Okay. Like chordal, like minor second dissonance, like that. Is that what you're talking
about? No,
like,
chordal dissonance actually
cool.
You can find beauty in it.
Right. So that's why I wasn't sure what you're talking about.
Chaotic dissonance.
Okay.
Too many things going on that are just unrelated. I'm a thinker.
Right.
I love just to think.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be quiet, but when you get too many things that are dissonant, they cause almost like a malfunction or a kill switch where I shut down and I'm like, there's just too much. Even in, not to get all like weird, crystally spiritual on you, but even like just as a source of energy, because you know, sound's energy, frequencies are waves of energy, and when they're in harmony, it's amazing and you can feel it.
Right.
And when they're dissonant, you can feel it, and even then you can pick out, like we said, you know, there's beauty in certain chordal dissonance.
Right.
But when there's the chaotic type of energy that comes from different things and different noises and different stuff, I shut down. It's just like, no, it makes bad energy for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sounds weird, but...
No, it works, man. Absolutely.
I'm going to have to journal after this. Be like, oh my God.
I got so much out of you.
Are you free next Thursday?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's start charging.
About 8 o'clock.
Start charging you.
I got a window and this I feel better.
Right. Well, you know, and that kind of brings you up to another point that we didn't really necessarily talk about, going off of the question thing for a second. But, you know, not everybody knows, but we're in a band together.
Yes.
We play with Jason Mann and the J-Man Trio.
It's actually one of my favorite projects that I do musically.
Yeah, mine too, exactly. And we're working on some new stuff. I'm not going to say anything just because we haven't gotten anything necessarily official going yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And so, but yeah, you know, and you know, even just like recently, you know, a lot of the road trips and something that we do with some of the gigs, it's ridiculous. I was joking earlier that this last trip to Vegas, I swear I lost probably 5 pounds just in laughing alone on the drive. You know, 'cause we have such a great time together, and so
that's really what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's cool landing. I've been in bands where I'm really not fond of people I'm playing with.
Yeah.
And no matter how good the band's doing, you're like, this kind of sucks.
Yep, exactly.
And then I've been in bands where it's just like, this is so awesome. And what usually happens is that energy spills out, and you usually end up starting to get better gigs and more opportunities. And so that's my piece of advice actually to musicians.
There you go.
If you can play with people that you have fun with, and just make the whole experience worth being there, that you want to be there, you're going to start landing better gigs, and you're going to start just growing as an artist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's great. I mean, is there any other advice? I mean, you've been in the industry for quite a long time. You've done anything and everything.
It's crazy, so long for being 28.
So, yeah, it's 28, right. So, but, you know, is there any other advice or anything like that you want to give any other, you know, musicians that are coming up or guys that are starting out or like that, since you have been in the business for, you know, a decent amount of time?
Yeah, actually, there's I used to do this thing at the studio where I called it like it was like career goal mapping and stuff for bands, and I get together with a lot of groups, and there's a really cool guy I know that's friends with you named Dave, and had this talk also with his group at the time, and it's super awesome. Remember, your job as an artist is to write songs, record them, and then go play them for people. Mm-hmm. And if you can find the happiness in that, everything else comes. Right. Everything, you know, everybody, some people believe in the universe, they believe in God, they believe in... That's not my gig to tell you which one's what.
Gotcha.
I do know from experience, when you can do what you're supposed to do, and it makes you so happy that you want to keep doing it, everything comes. Right. And I used to do these, you know, career goal mapping and workshops, whatever we called them. And it was basically to tell young artists, like, okay, let's sit down for 3 or 4 hours and talk about how you can take what you do and make a business out of it.
Gotcha.
But at the end of the day, don't forget what your job really is. Right. Write songs, record them, and go play them for people. Right. If you're worried about management, who's booking a show, what kind of guarantee, yeah, those are necessary things. Right. But they're not what you do. Right. And so that's the biggest thing I can tell anybody. And, you know, 10 years of owning a business, you know, became like, my job wasn't to, after a while, wasn't to make great records. My job was I was sales. Yeah. Sell studio time to people. Fill it up. You got, you know, a daughter to feed. Yep. You got a mortgage. So your job is now you're a salesperson. Right. You're not a musician. You're not, I engineer. I produce. I know how to do that. What's your job today? Sell studio time. After a while, it sucks. Yeah, well, absolutely. You know, when you get back to where you say, man, we got a 9-hour drive today. Yeah. You know, and we had one of those on Saturday. Right. We're driving to Vegas, turn around, driving back. Yep. And it was fun the entire time. Yeah, absolutely. It did not suck. And we had a great jam, and that's the key. Yeah. Absolutely. Find happiness in your job. That's cool. Yeah. And then everything else, people see that. The opportunities come. You want to get better. You find out how to make it work smoother. And you have fun doing it. Absolutely. All right, Billie Stevens. Well, I've got one more question for you, but before that, where can anybody find you at? Probably I spend more time on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook's the only one I got memorized. There is always BillieStevens.com. And it's spelled Billie. Right. So BillieStevens.com, but I'm redoing the website, and I'm not really good at WordPress, and so I write songs, I record them, and play them for people. The one I really remember that I'm on every day is Facebook.com/Billie Stevens Music. Cool. You know, that's the best place. I answer messages. Billie Stevens Music. Kill it. Yeah. Awesome, buddy. All right, last question.
if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say whenever you arrive at the pearly gates?
Here's your guitar, plug it the fuck in. You know, it's...
I love it.
Yeah, if heaven exists, it's... You know, I just want it to be a place peaceful. You know, just a place that's good. And honestly, I'm happy when I'm playing guitar.
There you go.
I'm happy when I'm on stage in front of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if
There you go.
God hands me one of the good Gibsons. I have so many freaking Gibson guitars, and I've broken the headstocks off of most of them, which is a pretty bad ratio. But yeah, if maybe a nice like 50s Les Paul.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah. That
With my buddy Howard Olyate's custom built Olyate pickups in it. I'm going to have to tag him in this. Dude, best pickups in the world.
That's awesome.
The best pickups in the world.
Cool.
The guy moved to Nashville, and now I got to work to get pickups.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by, doing the podcast.
Can I also give a shout out to Matthew Phillips?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, love you, man. And I am so sorry that I missed the show at the Troubadour, and I will be coming to see you play. My dance card's filled with a lot of shows, but he's just an amazing musician. He's Tsunami Family.
Yeah.
I
He's
met him.
Gonna be on podcast number 7.
Okay, cool.
So.
Yeah, I just want to give the guy a shout out. You know what? He's a hard-working, talented guy.
He is.
And so, you know, that's one thing I like to see artists do, is recognize and support each other.
There you go. That's great.
You know, and that's why I love the Tsunami Family. That's why I feel so good. Like, when we do stuff, even with a trio, and we talk about doing different projects, there's so much support in it.
Right.
And that's really where you're going to, I feel that you're going to drive from.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Matt's a great guy, too. I mean, I literally was talking with him this morning.
Cool.
And he's got a big gig tonight he's playing.
Yeah,
So,
House of Blues,
Nation,
right?
Yeah, Live Nation House of Blues thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish I would have been there, but I had to do a podcast with you. So.
You know, and so I have an excuse. I don't know where it's going to air, but we filmed it tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have an excuse. But yeah, give a big shout out to him. And
Absolutely.
just good people deserve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Awesome. Thanks, Billy. I appreciate it.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Everybody else, make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. And this is Sound Off with Stixx. Peace.